Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 230th episode of our first run through Book of Hours, playing as the artist, first run on YouTube at least. And we are in the middle of Numa. I am looking to level up some various elements of the soul, some various skills, and eventually get some elements of the soul. So we're going to start that right away. So one of the things that I want to do here, so we've got the Cheerful Ditty, the Storm, Solace, so on and so forth. What I want to do is make sure that I have everything that I need for the required levels for strings and songs. So we've already got level 1 to 2. We're going to be taking 2 to 3 in a moment. So then we need to sort out 3 to 4, or 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. So we've got 2. So now I need 3 here. So back into balance is one of them. The Ascendant Harmony is the third, so we take the Many-Faceted Lesson, and then finally we need the 4 memories. And I'm a little worried that I actually I misjudged here. So let's just take a minute here and make sure that I've got the heart that I needed. Oh, here we go. Okay, so it was the Curious Hunch and Enduring Reflection that I didn't account for. So those are 2. Now, I would have thought that I would have a spare... Oh, and the Didymos. So my guess here was that I was actually going to have a spare because we got the Winter, and apparently we don't. So let me just double check what we've got here. So Cheerful Ditty and the Storm, that gets me to level 3. Solace back into balance and Ascendant Harmony get me to level 4. Curious Hunch, Enduring Reflection, and the Didymos, and then one more. Okay. Okay, fair enough. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Beguiling Melody because I can make another Beguiling Melody very easily. So that'll be the first thing that I do right now. Okay, and while I'm at it, the next plan would be Orchids and Narcotics. So that requires Grail and Nectar. So obviously the Earth Sign, the Hive's Lament, I need 3. And the Impulse. And then I need the 4. So Satisfaction, Gossip, interesting. Yeah, so I'm short on the 4. Okay, well that's fine. That's an IOU. I'll put a marker in place. So then Sharps. So Sharps is going to need... so we've got a spare loss. 2, 3. Noomroom. 2, 3, 4. Looking good. Okay, no, I should say based on what I see here. So We're already getting a beguiling melody. We will be completely satisfied with orchids and narcotics by the end of this. So the only remaining step is to get... So I'm going to need 5 edge or moon for sharps. And of course, I want to make sure I've already got the contradiction in the queue. But this shouldn't be too hard to sort out. Okay, so impulse doesn't help me. Satisfaction, we've already got the contradictions. Foresight, no. Regrets, no. Intuitions, we will work with. Let's read the triple heart. Nope. Well, okay, fine. Sorry, I'm just double checking. So this is 1 of 5 that I need. Okay, fear works here, so we will do Deeds of the Scarred Captain. Confounding Parables, we will use the Devoured Tantra. So that's 3 of 5. And I think that's it, unless I want to start constructing things. So I can get a freebie the next time that I generate another loss. So really, if I take the Practic Garden dummy, the largest we have is metal still. I can use Torg's Cleansing on that. And that should be all the memories that that should be all the memories that I need to be able to get everything done for today. Which tells me that I should be able to do some gardening, but what I think I'm going to do, just as a precaution, I'm going to make sure that all the strings and songs has been leveled up before I proceed. Just in the interests of avoiding duplication, I'm going to use the Beguiling Melody right away. I'm no expert, but I'm no dabbler either. Improve this skill to level 3. Just trying to make this a little easier for me to manage. Stop! All right. And yeah, so we're still waiting on the last ones here. So I imagine there's going to be sort of like a mad scramble at the end of the day. I'm going to allow myself one little side job. Let's go. Herbs and Infusions has already been committed, so In Numa, I might gather honey, beeswax, or something unexpected. The Blomberende usually pass by to pay their respects to their infant nobility and leave their cuckoo gifts. So I'm not opposed to trying to do some to pluck some other flowers and all of that, but again, I want to make sure that I've secured what I need. Okay, silver spin tree is welcome. All right. Solace. Back into balance. Ascendant harmony. So I still need to be checking this off. So this should take us to midday. And so far this does seem to be playing out roughly the way we expected, so... You're gonna go back in, aren't you? Oh, nice. Obviously, I want to make the most that I can of these many faceted lessons. If we wind up in a situation where we do a mad scramble, I can basically count on, let's say, a +4 to whatever I try to do in the future. Okay. The Wind's Ruin, the second volume of the Meditations of Abbot Thomas of the Abbey of the Black Dove. Abbot Thomas speaks of his time as a raider when his name was not Thomas but Toke, scything the sea, striving for plunder. Abbot Thomas clearly regrets his storm years, and much of the book is taken up with his thoughts on penitence, but there are hints also that he misses those years and the companionship of his sword brother, ship brother, Trigev. The Tripled Heart, sacred poems composed in honor of the hours venerated by the Sisterhood of the Triple Knot. The Grail is celebrated for her colors, the Malachite for her sweetness, the Axe for her constancy. The Thunderskin, least of the hours of the Knot, when he is even counted among their number at all, is celebrated with an unexpectedly poignant elegy. What lives departs, what is dead remains. The deeds of the scarred captain, painstakingly assembled by the soldier of fortune and sometimes remittance man Pavel Shulga during his years in Greece. An account of the founding of Mycenae by a scarred captain who first slew 7 monsters to make the land safe. As the captain destroys each monster, a flood of blood rises higher until at last a priestess drowns and is reborn as a serpent goddess. She blesses the captain, and he departs for the house above the forest, leaving Mycenae to reign supreme after the flood of blood subsides. Torg's cleansing. The cleansing has left my skin burning, my teeth throbbing. The Coravality rumbles beneath the membranous surfaces of the waking world. And the Devoured Tantra, the diplomat priest Stanislav John Schaller transcribed this from the library of a Redlong, but his manuscript remains in a private collection in Karashim. The Devoured Tantra warns of the uses and dangers of appetite, but devotes an entire passage to the star-limbed hunger-bringers who it describes with obvious affection. A million blazing fires in the belly engulf what has been swallowed by the multiform mouths. Okay, so the empty fifth is it should be the thing that I throw away. Let me just organize my space a little bit better. Okay, so clearly I've got lots of stuff that I can do, which is not going to throw me off for the day's tasks. So what I should do next, I'm actually going to move back to my list. So orchids and narcotics and sharps are accounted for. Oronoscopy would not be a terrible idea here because it's just so level, although it's just such a low level one. Pentiments and precursors is also a tempting one here. So Oronoscopy, just because that will require a lot of like repeated moon and sky runs. Although there's a similar argument for sky stories. I think I'm going to go pentiments and precursors. So that means that I'm going to set aside another Arab. And that's going to mean 6 Grail and Scale. Which is slightly inconvenient because I'm actually already full up on all those elements of the soul. Which says to me that I shouldn't be pursuing that. Well, I have the earthquake name to start with. So that's 1 of 6. Then the earth sign, beguiling melody. We can probably do it, but I don't think I should be generating any memories right now. What I do think is clear, though, is I can afford to start using the... I can start doing some Numa gardening. So I don't think this gives me anything special in Numa. It's very important I don't use orchids as narcotics. I think I'm happy enough with that. As far as the remaining elements of the soul, there's really not a whole lot else for me to do with them right now, so. Okay. The skill is now level 4. Its power aspects have also increased. So this is the last step, and as expected, we're at noon. Before the Great Division, this was the 6th hour, when the priests led hymns to the sun and splendor. Now noon, as they say, is not as it was. Perhaps the new king will change that. So, curious hunch, enduring reflection, Daidumos, cheerful ditty. And we will employ, got 9.3 seconds on this, so I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm actually going to move on orchids and narcotics. And this is because this is going to free up another core for me. Another fruit plucked from knowledge's tree. Improve this skill to level 4. In fact, I'm going to go one step even further. So I'll put the beguiling melody in here. Is that right? Yes, because I'm trying to generate Grail. Okay. With that in mind... I'm going to keep the Arab aside. Now I got to be careful in terms of what I'm dedicating to reading, but... So here for satisfaction, we can do the not the wonderful shape. Journey to the Grove. We do still have some whist left over, so I will employ that. We'll get the gossip. I thought it was here. Oh, right here. Sure, we'll do the Dream of the Conspiracies of the Lower Skies. Okay, satisfaction, gossip, and let me just double check. Yeah, so then we can do the beguiling melody again. So that at least gets me a start on some of the things that I wanted. So again, just to clarify what I did here, I'm resting with the Faust. Now, I don't think... Yeah, I was hoping I might be able to get something like a heart or health or something like that. That's not really happening, but I can restore whatever the lowest is among these elements of the soul. Actually, hang on. Didn't I use a health with the... Ah, yes. Okay, never mind. So actually bringing back an Arab wouldn't be a bad idea here. So I deserved a little quiet time. So we've got a Faust back if I need it. Or I do need it, actually, because now I can do more gardening. Although I'll hold off just to be... make sure I'm in the clear. The whist is the one that... Well, whist or Arab. But I'll bring back the whist. And we'll drink another glass of water for that. A quick nap in a warm bed with something comforting to drink while the winds chase the clouds and the clouds chase the sun. Okay, I think we are on track. So again, this is largely going to be a matter of being quick on the spacebar, but otherwise we're okay. And the reason I feel okay kind of holding back a little bit with the core and the health is that we have until sundown basically to use these, so I don't feel a particular urgency. Alright, in Numa, I might gather honey, beeswax, or something unexpected. The Blumberende usually passed by to pay their respects to their infant nobility and leave their cuckoo gifts. Sorry, I did read that before. Let's put you on the shelf. Alright, the skill is now level 4. Its power aspects have also increased. So before I commit to too much of a disruption of the day's plan... So satisfying to have come so far. So now, essentially at this point, it's pure profit in Numa. Everything else that we're doing is leveling up skills that previously weren't where they needed to be. Now again, I'd like to get that done quickly. I'd like to get that done in a way that makes sure that I'm able to make the most of the many-faceted lessons. But we know we're not losing anything during this Numa. Now, Strings and Songs is actually a fairly important one for me to level up for a lot of the different branches that I want to go down on the Tree of Wisdoms, but unfortunately it's also the only level 5 that I have that isn't yet committed to the tree. So that was a little bit of poor planning on my part. So one kind of consequence of that is I'm not pushing that past level 5 until like I know I'm not going to need to break anything up again. A Journey to the Grove. Black Ellie, who much later became Damascene matriarch of the Sisterhood of the Knot, recounts her journey to the Grove of Green Immortals. In the Grove, Ellie meets with an entity identified as Three Faces, Nine Colors, who may have become her lover. Three Faces is a name of the Applebright, the nowhere hour of youth, healing, and mutation. It offers Ellie a form of eternal youth to take back west with her, which she rejects for certain reasons. She does promise, however, to renew their acquaintance in the season when the Applebright is the witch, not from sentiment, but rather grandly to ensure the continuity of the histories. If you can just give me a quick second here. Just saw something a little unusual I wanted to follow up on. Okay, so that's a satisfaction again. This is the overflow at this point of things that are nice to have, but I may not be able to get. The Dream of the Conspiracy of the Lower Skies, the disgraced oracle Daemon Azenaten sifts through the tall tales of Penelope of Gordian, the work of the court poet Cal, and the forbidden fragments of the work of the adept Aratres, identifying common themes. Daemon insists that the hours, far more than mortals, are subject to their passions, to hatred, and even to love, the seasons of famine and plenty, the turn of the earth, the transformations of the furnace. All these are only the results of the enactment of the lesser passions of the hours. Daemon suggests that the hours have constrained their rivalry to avoid a war within the House of the Sun. He identifies the fear of the crime of the sky as the reason the hours do not satisfy other passions. He speculates on the horrifying possibility of hours turned Alucite. What then would they devour? And intimations of the skin, fiendishly complex, weirdly distorted illustrations of Congress and anatomy by the haunted visionary painter Niels Frederick Malsker. Malsker illustrates the evolutions of the names of the Grail with unfortunate clarity. It seems that a lovely who consumes an ivory becomes an ivory, a lovely who consumes a thirstly becomes a thirstly, a lovely who consumes a name of another hour might take its place. In the penultimate illustration, a lovely grapples with a fungoid knot that can only be a name of the crowned growth. The lovely's mouth and other portals gape wide, and the growth name is already partially engulfed. But it seems that Malsker couldn't bring himself to illustrate the result. The final illustration is only a scrawled, bloated obscurity. So I think that's it for Grail stuff that I can bring in. The scale, I've got the fear, I've got the earthquake name, and I have the earth sign is already in. So yeah, we won't add any more of those. So we've actually already done orchids and narcotics. Actually, we'll move that up one more time. So Wind and Waiting, Impulse, Earth Sign, Hive's Lament, and the Many-Faceted Lesson. So Orchids and Narcotics is where it should be for placement in the Tree of Wisdoms. Also, conveniently, it's level 5, so if this is actually not a bad one for me to break up, given the fact that I have so much Arab, although it's a little tricky to get Grail and Nectar, which I may want to keep in mind as well. So satisfying to have come so far. So the rest of this is going to be sharps. So I have to do 3 more of these. I should have got the earth sign. I'll use a metal again. I'll skip reading Wrapped in the King or Dirashu Quercum again, just because that's one I read a lot because of the earth sign. Alright, Aglaophotis, the other rose. Oh, the other rose. Only in Numa does it bloom. Now, I thought I used... I guess I didn't. I was thinking of using a flower, so I guess these go down into the vaults. Moly the gods call it, and it is hard for mortal men to dig, but with the gods all things are possible. I always appreciate a good Simpsons quote. Pyrus arcelsinus. In Numa, it develops quickly. The boughs of the tree bend with fruit. So I've got a core and a heart. I will use those before the end of the day. However, I do want to make sure I don't have any other claims on those elements of the soul. So we're going to wait until just before the sun goes down. All right, on to sharps. And let's just change this up, so I'll get the fear as well. And I think that's it. Yeah, so we'll employ the Arab. Another fruit plucked from knowledge's tree. So the reason why I changed that up, I'm sure it's fairly apparent here, but now I can read a book for fear. I could also theoretically read one for a contradiction, but that doesn't have an immediate benefit the way that the others do. We've got a spare fet, so in this case we'll go for the fear. And this one's a little hard for me to justify getting another element of the soul. I mean, I can if I want. I could use the bedclothes, but the question that I need to answer for myself now is what am I trying to accomplish? Like, what is the main goal? Let's take a quick peek. So if I'm bringing pentiments and precursors up. I do have a couple of rose things I can work with. Okay, I'm not going to use the bed sheets, but I do have a thought. So we're ready to chuck the seashell that I found. Or the phosphorescent scrapings. I deserved a little quiet time. So yeah, obviously this is a little bit of a later episode, but I figure I might as well see this through to the end. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're good to go. So I have a suspicion here that I'm probably underestimating the amount of work that I can get done. So I'm sort of trying to build in some guardrails for that. So for pentiments and precursors, if I'm leveling that up, I need 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'm going to bring back an impulse just to be safe. That was the wrong call. Okay, but I'm not losing too much doing that. So the next big milestone is skill is now level 4, its power aspects have also increased. I'm going to change this up again, so intuition, confounding parable, Noombroom, and some of these don't matter as much, but actually I can chuck in the loss. So satisfying to have come so far. What did I just give up again? All right, so I want the... sorry, I'm struggling to keep track of this. Nectar and scale, rose and sky, scale and rose. Yeah, I think I'm gonna invest kind of heavily in some rose and sky. I'm kind of going a little scattershot now, which is not ideal. But this is kind of my last chance to get new things. So let's be... No, we can do that. Actually, I'm going to use this shaft here. Okay, so I think I've got a couple of decent contingency plans in the worst case. I'm going to need to make a decision about this core in a little bit. I don't think I'm committing myself to something that I can't I can't repair. Now, orchids and narcotics is good to go. Should do one more with sharps, and then we're on to the bonus. Oh, yeah. Okay, no. This is actually pretty straightforward for me to see, right? So in 30 seconds... Yeah, we've got 2 more that we can do. So I'm already ready to go with pentaments and precursors, but I should be ready to go with another one, which is why I've been generating all of these, all of this rows. Now, this suggests to me that I can actually probably do some higher level leveling up in future. I'm not worrying about that right now. What I want to see is what I have to play with when the night's finished. What does this get me? This potentially gets me another chance. Yeah, I could potentially use a Forbidden Epic somewhere, so that's good. This is kind of me throwing as much rows as I can at something. Actually, you know what? Okay, let's spend the time to think this out. So, let's say we just cross the halfway point with this. This takes us to dawn. Or sorry, this takes us to nightfall, dusk. This takes us halfway through. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of what I have to work with, so 1, 2, 3, for pentaments and precursors, I actually need to put some numbers to these now. So I need 6. So I have 4 already. Five. 6. Okay, we're good there. So now the question is, what do I want? Afterwards, we've got moth nectar. And we've also got the Arab ready to go. Moon Rose. Moonrose Sky. Okay, so on the basis of rows alone, we have 5. So Sky Stories, Path and Pilgrim, those are the 2. Okay. Yeah, so the real problem here is that Sky Stories and Path and Pilgrim are not really that exciting to level up. The other one that would be good would be Oronoscopy, but that's Moon and Sky. We really can't afford that. So what I'm going to do here, I'll set aside a FET, maybe 2. Let's say we're going to go all in on the sky angle for this. So that means lots of songbooks. Just making sure I got everything lined up. This is a scale too, which is kind of a nice little bonus. So it's a little rough in terms of how this is all going to play out at the end, but I can also bring in a solace and a solace and a storm. Not quite how I planned it to go, but this works. All right, the Encircling Tantra. The explorer and entrepreneur T. Everett Duplantis once attempted to plunder the temple where this text was held. His fate is recorded in an appendix. The Encircling Tantra speaks of the Serpent Gate, that hungry portal sometimes known as the Spider's Door, which is sacred to the Mother of Ants, through which the Great Hooded Princes pass. The Tantra includes an invocation, but cautions helpfully that the invocation is of insufficient power to reach the Serpent Gate from the Hunter's Gate. A road which has no destination is itself a destination, it adds helpfully. And sorry, I realize this is an endless episode here, so I'm just a little scattered in terms of what I want to do. So I think I'm going to give up. Okay, so we did... Yeah, Solace. I think that's it. I don't think there's any more sky stuff for me to add at this point. All right, the skill is now level 5. Its power aspects have also increased. So, once more with feeling. At last, I am something of an authority in this. Improve the skill to level 6. So again, I apologize for the time that this stuff has been taking, but this is a chance for me to check on how much time I have to do certain things. So for instance, like I've kind of been keeping notes in terms of how I've been spending the day in game. And what I'm going to be doing now is adding to that list. I don't know if I'll go to the end of Numa. Actually, you know what? I'll end the episode here, and then tomorrow we'll deal with sort of the fallout of Numa. Clearly, I don't have everything that I need to level up through the Tree of Wisdoms, but this gives me a good idea in terms of how realistic it is for me to try and get these. And yeah, I think we've got a couple of. I think we've got a couple of good improvements here. I would have liked it if I could have planned out the sort of the secondary steps a little bit better, but I'll know that for next time. But again, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.